Welcome to Life Fit with DVD. I'm back again with another video, and today I wanted to talk about why I quit drinking. And I thought I would go through some of the benefits and detriments to drinking and everything that's kind of around it, because there's a bit of a social stigma around drinking or not drinking, and it can be kind of interesting how all of it plays out. So I had a bunch of points here that I wanted to go through for why it's good and bad, but I think I'm just going to freeform it and see how this goes. But ultimately, there's a lot of good things about drinking. Right, growing up, I went out and hung out with people, and we drank, and it was a lot of fun. We did a lot of stupid things. But I mean, I think they were all within normal kind of levels of stupidity as well. It wasn't anything insanely dangerous, but this is the sort of thing that happens when you're younger and you drink, right? I'm not condoning that this is good behavior, but at the same time, like, this was a social stigma that kind of happened for the age and the place where I grew up. So it wasn't like it was looked upon as a bad thing per se, but it was also just like, is this really what we should be doing? Is this a a good thing to apply time and energy to? Um, and at that time, yes, it was, right? Because that's how you make social connections. That's how you bond with people. There's, a lot of great benefits to drinking, and that's you're able to relax. You're able to socialize with other people, and when you are able to relax and feel like you're able to be more of yourself, well, you can bond with people better. Um, you might have more of a relaxed attitude instead of having your guard up, uh, you know, as opposed to when you're sober, right? And there's also, it's not just the social. I mean, there's also benefits in the way that if you drink wine or something like that, there's Restival in it that can be good for lowering your heart disease. But that's just a specific type, right? That's just not all types. A lot of people drink. A lot of what people drink is, a variety of different things. There's beers, there's liquors, obviously there's wines, and a lot of them do have sugary things mixed into them, which the sugar is not going to be good with alcohol, even though it tastes good, right? Um, However, as I got older, um, there was a bit of a shift between drinking to feel relaxed and feel and have a good time, and it shifted into more of a this is kind of overdoing it level. And I was getting to the point where it was just like I didn't want to feel anything, right? And in retrospect, I realized this is like very unhealthy. I was not in a good mental state of mind to be doing what I was doing, and I was trying to numb myself out to forget about just some of the pains that I had felt about other areas of my life, such as relationships and purpose and direction and identity, and also just kind of ignoring in general how I felt about things. Right, the alcohol was a mask for kind of just moving on, right? And I'm not saying that this is the case for everybody, but you can usually tell when there's a threshold of drinking too much and kind of doing it repeatedly and binge drinking versus doing it socially to just relax and have some fun, right? um, but what I found was that as I got older, it started to feel, and I think this is just part of the body and how it is, your body isn't able to process alcohol as well as you do when you're younger, right? When when you're younger, your body is very tolerant to a lot of different bad things for you. But as you age, it's going to get harder and harder for your body to process these things. And maybe that's not the case for everybody. Maybe some people just don't even notice it, or they just keep a certain tolerance of alcohol in their blood at all times that it's like not as noticeable, right? However, for me, it was like, all right, if I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna drink, and I want to have a good time. But it led to this cycle of just peaks and valleys in my own health, and I would drink, and then I'd feel great that night. Then I'd come down the next day, and I'd just be absolutely worthless. Like I wouldn't be able to focus or get the things done that I wanted to because I was hungover, right? And some people have their own ways of getting around that, hair of the dog, and other methods for trying to recover quickly. Um, However, I found that it just didn't work for me. I was much more in touch with my body and like what I could do, what I could handle, and what I couldn't. And once again, as I got older, that just got harder and harder to continue to drink. And it just got to the point where it was like, why am I doing this still? Because even when you're younger, you're out, you're exploring the world, you're meeting different people, and that's great. But as you get older, you lose a lot of connections. I mean, there's a lot less reasons to be going out. You start adulting, right? And you have bills to pay, and drinking and going out for drinks becomes more of a logistical hassle, right? People don't live as close to one another, and going out for drinks, it's like you might not even have significant connections with those people, right? But you might go out to drink and you just don't bond with them as you used to, right? And you just find that your priorities start to shift. Things change, and your priorities then start to look at, well, it's like, why am I doing this still? Is there a reason for me to be doing this still? And that's what I just started asking myself, because I would drink, and even if it was just a social thing, at somebody's house or whatever, I would feel terrible the next day. And even as a just a social thing, it just became like my body doesn't want this anymore. Because when I drink it, as much as I feel good in the short term, I know that tomorrow I'm gonna feel like absolute crap, and there's nothing, nothing I can do about that. So it just became, to the point where it's like, hey, why am I doing this? And I think the straw that kind of broke the camel's back too was that there was we were over at somebody's house, and like they were drinking heavily and saying things, and I had drank too, and I was just upset. I was very upset about what was being said, and I just didn't. I didn't like it, right? And I pushed back on them and told them to go go piss off, right? But at the same time, that's not how I would handle that sort of situation sober, right? It's not how I really wanted to handle it. And sure, I mean, that was me talking there, but at the same time, that's not really the true me. And I think that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, in the sense that it was just like, afterwards, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be like this. And I don't want to handle things in a way that is going to just be disruptive in the future, right? I'd rather be me. I'm happy being me, and I'm happy feeling sober, right? Happy just being myself in any sort of situation, right? And that was really it right there. Like, it was a decision that's like, I don't need this anymore. I'm happy with who I am, to the point that it's like, Yeah, let's go out and let's we can be in a new environment and we can eat and we can drink. And it doesn't have to be alcohol, and we can still have a good time. And I think for certain people, that's a really strange thing because if they've been drinking their entire lives, well, it's a little bit awkward when somebody else is not drinking because, well, they might have a better memory of the situation. They might be able to perceive a situation a little bit better than you can, right? And that might make you a little bit more insecure because, well, you know, they know you're being silly or relaxed or free from inhibitions, but and like that just might be uncomfortable to them. So I've like experienced a variety of different pushback because of my own decision to not drink. And it's not that you can't get along with these people or anything like that, but it's going to be an adaptation process for everybody in to that end, right? Um, and ultimately, I am happy. I'm happy I don't drink anymore. I quit 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, I think was my last drink, and I do not regret it. I feel much better. I feel my relationships have improved with people. I feel better health wise, improved physical health, better mental health. There's none of that emotional kind of wave of being super amped up and then, super down and depressed and unfocused the next day. You know, I used to drink so much that like I got terrible sleep. But you get much better sleep without drinking alcohol. Some people swear by drinking alcohol at night to help them sleep. And hey, if that works for them, that's fine. But the studies are out there, and the studies show that it can disrupt your sleep patterns and lead to a poor quality of sleep. So, hey, to each their own. But for me, it works better not having it. It saves you money. It improves your focus, so it improves your work performance, improves your physical performance. You have less accidents. There's less reasons for you to get hurt or whatever if you're not drinking, right? Increases your energy, and it improves your skin, right? Typically, that's just something that it's a byproduct of probably not having the sugar and the carbs and all the other things that aren't good for you in these drinks, right? And ultimately, if you really struggle with drinking and just having too much, right? If you wean yourself off and you cut yourself out of it, eventually, you're gonna feel better. And you're gonna feel more empowered to, you're gonna have a better grasp over your life. That's how you will feel, right? That you're more in control, and you will be more in control because you will be you. And I also want to mention on a spiritual level, there's also a component to this that um, I'm probably going to butcher it, but in some language, I don't know if it's Latin or some language like that. Um, the way alcohol is translated is of the ghoul. So there can be like a sort of spiritual aspect to this that people don't think about. Where by having alcohol, you are allowing other entities to have an impact on you. And of the ghoul is not one of them that I would really want to mess with anymore, especially in today's crazy society. So ultimately, these are just some of the reasons that I don't drink anymore. I'm happier this way, and I would recommend it to anybody that wants to try it. And as I had said, I think in the beginning, there's great benefits to, it helps you relax, you know, get along better with people in social situations. Sometimes, if you don't have too much, um, and in certain cases, it can be good for your heart if you drink in moderate amounts. and that's more so wine than anything else. But I mean, I think alcohol has changed a lot over the years as well, where it used to be more of a pure kind of form of alcohol, right? Pure form of poison. But there's just a lot of things that are put in it by these giant manufacturers of alcohol that we don't really know what they are anymore. I mean, a lot of our food is just so disrupted. It's not. It's so far from what food should be anymore that we need to be mindful of what not just what's in our food, but also what's in our alcohol, our beverages. And ultimately, when you're mixing it with things that are designed to give you a little dose of poison, I don't think that's going to be good. So, without getting into that too detailed, these are just some of the reasons that I don't drink anymore, and I'm pretty happy about it. Now, there are times that I do feel like, oh, it would be nice to have a drink or something like that. But you know what? It comes and it goes, and it's like, I don't need it, right? Because I know how I'm going to feel afterwards, and it's just never worth it anymore. So here I am, me, sober, boring, right? But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video on a little bit of my journey and the reasons why, I stopped drinking, please like or subscribe. Let me know if you're going through your own journey, you're trying to quit, why you're trying to quit, and how that's going for you. I'd love to help if I could. So just let me know. Otherwise, until tomorrow, I will talk to you later.